Not even close, Doug, but nice try.
Nefertiti in 2000 BC.
Nefertiti. What nation was Nefertiti from? Egypt? Close, but no cigar. It was the Babylonians in 4,000 years ago. So that's about right.
Yeah, I got that one.
Yeah, that's right. So, anyway, better hit him up for membership because he's pretty smart.
I get this kind of practice at Rotary.
Okay. Okay. How many of you make resolutions? New Year's resolutions.
Used to.
On what day do many people give up on their New Year's resolutions?
January 10th.
January 8th.
January 2.
One week, but January
Closer to February 15th.
the 5th.
January 8th, it's the second Friday in January. So you're close, but it's the 12th, right? Or what is it? No, 10th. Who's did some say 10th? Friday it's 9th, right? 9th? Okay. So anyway, second Friday, and what's that day known as?
Give up day.
Close. Quitter's Day. Close. Anyway. Okay. So last question. How many of you have any Italian blood? Anybody?
A what?
Italian blood. Any? Are y'all Dutch?
Not Dutch, but not
Okay.
Italian.
So in Italy, what color underwear do people wear on New Year's Eve to bring good luck and love?
Brown.
Green.
Red.
Red. Deb got it right.
I know my underwear.
Good job. Deb knows her underwear. The mayor knows her underwear. Exclusive. Front page capital.
That's bad.
Okay.
I should have turned this off. That's for the month.
Okay.
Me too.
I don't think you want that as a cool deal.
No, I know.
Yeah, right.
I was trying to think of their flag. Isn't their flag red and green and
Totally.
white? And there's some red in it.
Okay, do we have a joke?
Who's doing
Jack's
it?
got a joke. Jack's got a joke.
Jack the jokester.
Said I wasn't going to do this anymore. It's a shame nothing's built in America anymore. I just bought a TV. It said built-in antenna. I don't even know where antenna is.
My country is of the sweet land of liberty, of thee I sing. Land where my fathers died, land of the pilgrim's pride. From every mountainside, let freedom ring. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let us pray. Our Father, we come to you on the first part of this new year, and we thank you for 2025, even though we've got, here in our city, we've had a lot of sad things happen in 2025. It's wonderful to be able to call on you in those kind of times, to see us through those times, and then as we look forward to the new year. And now, Lord, we pray for a blessing as food to our bodies and us to your service. In Jesus' name, amen. Okay, we've got one birthday coming up here tomorrow, actually. It's Dave Alva's birthday, so let's sing happy birthday to Dave.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Dave. Happy birthday to you. Thank you, thank you.
All right.
Made my day.
All right, so let's have some school reports here, and we'll start out. Earl, you're doing it for Unity?
So I think that since the last time Lions met, Unity had a game with Central Lyon, where the Central Lyon girls beat the Unity girls 77-58, and the Unity boys won 79-47. And then on January 2, it's a makeup game with Okoboji, Unity girls winning 58-53, and Unity boys winning 74-58. Coming up this week, there's a JVR game for boys tonight at Galen. Tomorrow, a big day with Sioux Center. Girl and boy JV and JVR teams at 4:30. And then the varsity girls at 6, varsity boys at 7:30. These are at Sioux Center for, if I read it right, with Unity. On Thursday, it's a Unity boys have Sioux Falls Christian coming in. And they're going to play a JVR, a JV, and a varsity game. Sioux Falls Christian was last year's state champ in South Dakota. Unity's undefeated. Sioux Falls' best player is a Wassner kid, grandson of Glenn Bauma and that crew. So pretty good group of players coming in from Sioux Falls Christian.
Thank you.
So, Glenn, doesn't Glenn have a Vendong kid? Doesn't he have a couple in high school here?
Yeah.
Yep, so Kevin Bendog's Tice plays for Unity, and then he'll have a cousin playing on the Sioux Falls Christian team.
It might be fun just to go watch Glenn and Barb.
See where they sit.
Where they
huh?
sit and who they cheer
So that's Thursday, and then Unity does not have a game on Friday.
Just coming back from Christmas break, so that was an enjoyable time that we had, and now we have a full week of school. This is our last week of our first semester, so that ends on Friday, so we have a 12 o'clock dismissal for that, and then grades and report cards and things. We do have 2 games. We have a away game tomorrow versus Sanborn, and on Thursday an away game also versus Hull Protestant. Those are the 2 games. Basketball, of course. Those are the games we have right now.
MOC Ploy Valley Dutchman. Boys had a game this past Friday at Des Moines at Wells Fargo. I guess it's a KC place now. But anyway, they played Knoxville. This game was set up, I think, last year, and they thought they'd get together in Des Moines and play. Knoxville won by 5. The Dutch boys couldn't quite rebound good enough or get a few more buckets in the hole, but it was a good game, supposedly. This week, or this past Saturday, the boys and the girls wrestling teams both wrestled. I think the girls were at a St. James tournament in Minnesota. I think they finished in the middle of the pack, so they did pretty well there. This week, I'm sure the wrestlers have something going on. I know the boys and girls basketball teams play Sheldon tomorrow night there, JV and varsity, and then they have Lamar's here Thursday, and then we have Boynton Hole there Friday. So it's a pretty busy week for the Dutch too. So.
An interesting thing I heard with the MOC and the Knoxville's coach is Joel Keaty, who was, remember his dad was a pastor at Dover? So he and Parker were in high school together. So there's 2 MOC coaches. So
2 good coaches
there. Yep.
Also, last night, I don't know if you saw, but Lauren Young was on. KDIV Sports.
After the
and
game,
he did a nice job.
He did.
Okay, at Northwestern, you had a very good prayer there, Doug, saying that some bad things happened in 2025, and that's what the Northwestern basketball team thinks too. The girls lost 3 out of 4 over that period of time, and the guys didn't play during the Christmas vacation, but they played a doubleheader at Concordia on Saturday, both the women and the men losing those games. So we're going to forget that, through with it, and we're going to think about what's coming up. Wednesday night, the gals and the guys play Mount Marty here, And then the gals play again on Saturday at St. Mary's of, they're in Omaha. And then we have 2 home games next week. We had kind of a strange schedule, really. I mean, the guys had 3 weeks off there during Christmas vacation. And not very many home games, but we're going to have a bunch of them come up here pretty soon. So, watch that basketball. Now, the other thing, Earl, you mentioned you think that Unity game is at Sioux Center.
No, it's at Unity. I just looked it up.
Yeah, I thought so, because in my schedule, I had it the other place, but it's hard for you to believe that sometimes I'm wrong. Usually I
You were right this time.
You were right, yeah.
It's nice, it's nice. It's nice.
I
Thanks
catch
for
you
following
doing
that.
the right thing.
I think that's it.
Okay, Benny?
I got a big mouth, so I'm not sure I need that. Okay, before I introduce this couple, I'll tell you a little bit about them. John and I actually went to high school together in Lamar's, so we were Bulldogs. We both members of the Ag class, both members of the FFA, and we actually did parliamentary procedure back then. Remember that? So that's how I know him, and now it turns out that I go to Trinity Reform, this couple goes to Trinity Reform. So if the times work out, they come for the late, we're there for the early. We used to usually be able to say, how are you? But anyhow, a couple things we're going to talk about today is they actually went along with the, what group is it that actually goes to deliver the wheelchairs? Right, but I mean, so you guys were a group of those people?
This was a specific Rotary group.
That's what I thought you said. Okay, so I want to talk a little bit about that. That fascinates me a little bit about going to, and where did you go?
Romania and Ukraine.
Okay, so anyhow, and then they're going to talk a little bit about, they're both Rotarians, so they're going to talk about that a little bit too. So let's welcome John and Carol Schneider.
Okay, thanks, Dennis. I don't know if any of you would remember, but I spoke here about 26 years ago. I was an Iowa pork ambassador and talked about the pork industry and the changes it was going through at that time, which were pretty drastic way back then. Thanks for the invitation, Dennis. We're very glad to be here to talk about this. I was Rotary District Governor 3 years ago, which meant I visited 38 clubs across all of South Dakota, 4 in Minnesota, 6 in Iowa. Carol went along with every one, keeping me company and book work and all that kind of stuff to do with it. And a lot of education with that and trying to inspire Rotarians, and through all that, you know, I ended up drinking the Kool-Aid. And Rotary's motto is service above self. So, you know, that's how we got involved in the Hope Haven Wheelchair Project as Rotarians, and as doing the service with that. The district governor position I had, I said I wouldn't do it again, but I wouldn't give it up for anything. And it's taken us all over the world, from Australia to Ukraine, and not that they paid for it, but you know, gave us the opportunity to do that. We spent 2 weeks in Denmark on a Rotary Friendship Exchange. It was a wonderful experience. So, is that enough, Dennis, about Rotary? Okay. And Carol is our club president now, and you want to go ahead and go down the list here?
So as a Rotarian, we had this opportunity to go to Romania and Ukraine. John called me one day, I can't remember, I think I was drinking coffee with a girlfriend or something, and he said, do you want to do this? We got to have an answer right now. Oh, okay. I guess we'll do that. Ukraine was a little scary, and I'll talk about that a little later, but it was a wonderful experience. It was a trip put together for Rotarians. There were 10 of us that were Rotarians. All of them were from South Dakota, plus John and I. So people would always refer to South Dakota, and we just go along with it instead of trying to correct them. But we also had a physical therapist who lived in Evergreen, Colorado, and her husband, and they were the experts in terms of helping fit children to the appropriate wheelchair. And we were escorted or taken through those communities in those countries by two individuals that work for Hope Haven Ministries and live there. One of them is actually a pastor, but he doesn't serve a church. He's working for Hope Haven. And the other one is a gentleman. I think he does a lot of little different jobs. And when he's needed by Hope Haven, he's there and knows how to fit wheelchairs as well. We distributed wheelchairs in 3 sites: a community center, an orphanage, and then in a convention center. John's going to show a real brief video that is 2 or 3 minutes long, not very long at all. If you want to find us in the video, you're going to have to look fast because it scans it quick. But it kind of describes what we had the opportunity to do.
Well, one thing I also want to talk about Rotary is we have the Rotary Foundation. It's one of the highest rated foundations in the world. And our biggest project is trying to eradicate polio. And we get matching grants from the Gates Foundation. We spend $150 million a year to eradicate polio, and millions of dollars in other projects, and some of them are like this, that we fund projects in cooperation with Hope Haven to distribute wheelchairs in Ukraine, Romania, Guatemala, Vietnam, Philippines, probably a couple others. But Hope Haven does it all over the world. So yeah, I'll start this video and then we'll talk some more.
This is in Ukraine, on our way to the community center.
We're doing this because it's a Rotary project, Rotary International project with a global grant. Process has been going on for 6 years. We still have some wheelchairs to finish up, and we're here today to help our friendly Ukrainian brothers and sisters to get this project done.
We're helping in Ukraine assemble wheelchairs for the handicapped kids, and myself and Dan helped put this one together. We're basically done with it. We already assembled it, put the seat on, the wheels on, the back on, and it's all ready to go for a Ukrainian child. So we did our job, and we're going to wait for the kids to come in. Very good. I like that. We did okay. Yeah, you did it. I helped. Just I helped. Yeah, wait.
I'm happy to be here. I think that Ismail is a beautiful city, and we are represented by 12 very dedicated people.
Well, we love to help the children all over the world. There's a need, and we're happy to help. Help the people of Ukraine. So thank you for allowing us to help.
This town is very beautiful. Thank you for having us here.
Very beautiful.
Very beautiful town, yes. Yep. Very. We take pride in this town.
Друзі, це фінальний етап нашого Global Grant. Це виключно класний проект, який Rotary Club Ізмаїл реалізував на Одещині. Хочемо запевнити, що далі буде. Разом Rotary – це велика сила.
How was your Ukrainian? Did you catch all that? We traveled individually to Minneapolis and met most of our group there, and then traveled to Amsterdam. So we thought of you while we were there. Spent some time at the airport on our way back, and I wanted to buy everything possible. I did buy some Dutch tulip bulbs and brought them straight back, and so there's some tulip bulbs from that airport hopefully growing in Orange City this spring. So. And our daughter's home. We did then also move on and travel then to Barlad together. And that was really the first that most of us knew each other. And we met our two escorts, we called them our interpreters also because they knew the language and we didn't. So we did find people that would speak English with us for sure, but it was nice to have those two gentlemen. We traveled in their utility vans to our 3 sites where we distributed the wheelchairs. And if I thought ahead of time, I would have pointed out that there was a little white wheelchair in that video, and that chair actually was made here in Orange City. And the tag, the examination tag or the inspection tag said from Orange City and checked off. So that was really cool. I came back and asked the ladies that do sewing out here at the edge of town, said, you remember sewing white vinyl for a wheelchair? And one of them said, yeah, I remember that. We commented, who would want a white wheelchair? And I said, well, this little kiddo got the white wheelchair. So that was really encouraging to all of us, I think. The 2 vans that we traveled in, the one that where the pastor was driving, they sang Bible school and camp songs all the time. But we both vans did pray before we left our hotel or our host homes every morning. So that was really a great experience and helped us remember why we were doing that. The children really were in need of chairs. You can see that they're very handicapped. Some of them were very, very stiff because they never really had an opportunity for physical therapy like we would here in this country. If there were a youngster that were handicapped here, we would have them, the AEA would have been involved with them as a very young child, and they didn't have those same opportunities. So when we went to the orphanage, that was very discouraging to us to see young people so handicapped and not really having the same opportunities that handicapped children and young adults would have had here in our country. The children came to those sites not on their own power, but being carried by people, family members. There was one grandpa, I'll never forget how he looked. He was so determined to get that child into that site. He had a hold of him under his armpits and just carried him in as slowly as he could walk to get that young man into the site. Some children were very excited about the wheelchair and just beamed from ear to ear. Some were really frightened because because of their handicap, had been carried or held by a family member almost nonstop. And so to be put into a metal wheelchair that was cold and something so foreign to them was really kind of frightening. So, John, do you want to talk about the putting the wheelchairs together and how we would try to adapt them?
I'm doing all the talking.
Yeah. So back to the children, I asked the physical therapist, what happened to these kids that they're so handicapped, and she said, it's usually, like a prenatal deal where they were deprived of oxygen and got brain injuries, or maybe when they were babies they had an ultra high fever that created the brain injury, and these poor kids, they just absolutely helpless, and really felt bad for them. One of the sites we went to was, they kind of described it as an orphanage, but the clients were mostly high school age to very young adults. And at that location, we did distribute some wheelchairs and then reupholstered it was kind of like a gurney because it had wheels, but yet it would fold up, you know, so that the person could sit in it. Carol and I didn't do a lot of work with actually fitting the wheelchairs for the kids. You know, I helped unload some and put some together. The physical therapist, you know, would work with the person and try different sizes of wheelchairs, and the wheelchairs are very adjustable, you know, so they could, you know, deal with the width a little bit and the height of the footrest, headrest, and so on. And, you know, some kids, you know, might take an hour or more to get fitted for their chair because, you know, the staff really worked hard to make it work for them. There was one gentleman that came in with a child, and he was very well dressed, and I don't know, and this was in Romania, I don't know, you know, what his job was, but they really had a hard time fitting his child in a wheelchair. But they did put him in one, and off to home he went, and I don't know, an hour or so later he came back with an empty wheelchair, and he said, "It won't go through the front door of our house." And you know, we felt so bad for him, and I don't know if we got him a different wheelchair or not, but anyhow, but he was still so appreciative of us coming, you know, with wheelchairs and so on and trying to help him that he helped us there the rest of the day. And we had to, you know, clean up our location and load up all the wheelchairs that didn't get distributed, and, you know, he was a really big help with that. I don't know if we talked too much about our work here in Orange City.
And Jerry's gone now.
Yeah. Well, he's listening on air. Yeah, Dave?
When exactly were you in the Ukraine?
When?
Yeah.
Yeah, this is the end of October.
And, you know, was that a picture of Ukraine that you had?
Yeah, that movie was all Ukraine. Yeah.
No, all the things that we see in the news, so it just shows destruction.
Well, I wish we had a map as part of the presentation, but we were in the very far southwest corner of Ukraine, maybe about as far away from the action as you could get, although we were maybe only 150 miles from Odessa, the port city. A couple days before we were there, we understood that their power plant had been bombed by a drone, and they were out of electricity, but had it restored within 24 hours, so they really are resilient and adaptive to.
I admire your willingness to go there. I would have thought you couldn't even do it.
Well, you know, like was said in the video, this project has been going on for 6 years, and starting with a global grant and so on, and the grant was approved, and they shipped a container of wheelchairs to Ukraine, like 200 of them, and then the war started, you know, within a month or so after the wheelchairs arrived. But they survived in storage somewhere, and so in November, a group of Rotarians went over there, and that was the very first that Rotary International would allow somebody to go to Ukraine on behalf of Rotary. So they went and distributed most of those wheelchairs. When we went, it was to finish the project up. So Carol, tell them about your experience.
So in Ukraine, we were hosted by a Rotary Club at a dinner at a lovely restaurant in their downtown. And it would remind you of any nice restaurant, Four Brothers, for example, in our communities. And we were just out of the two utility vans, and an air siren went off. And I knew what it was. And I wondered where John was. He wasn't near me. And we found each other. I mean, it wasn't a big group, you know what I mean? And so we made our way into this restaurant where the club was going to host us, and they met us at the door, and they're like, come on in. And then they said, it's really kind of like music. Not really, but I guess they're so used to it, and they wanted to try to reassure us that it really was okay. So we had a wonderful meal, wonderful program. During that time, you know, you're wondering what's going to happen, but nothing really did happen. But I said I was scared spitless when that air siren went off because I didn't know what was going to happen. So in talking to the young people in this Rotary Club, one young man in particular, John and I we were engaged in conversation with him. He was a delightful young man. And so he said, okay, well, here's my phone. And he said, you see those 5 flags? And yeah. He said, well, those are drones that are dropping bombs. But that's way up north. That's way up north. I mean, that's just how he said it. And he said, I have 65,000 friends. And because they count on me to tell them where drones are being dropped. So we had this just wonderful conversation. He'd been a merchant marine. And I started talking to him by saying, your English is so good. And have you been to the United States? Yes, I've been to the Everglades and to Texas. So in talking, I got out my phone and I wanted to show him something. And then I found pictures of my flowers in my garden. And so I just showed those to him. And I said, well, I do like the garden. And here's my flowers. And he said, we don't have time for anything like that. Which really hit home for me because they weren't about themselves. They were about helping their communities and their people survive. So yeah, we weren't in the action, but it certainly was there. The last morning then in Ukraine, we went to a moment of remembrance in their city center. And people come out for about a 10-minute ceremony every morning. They come out from their shops or they drive and park and purposely go to this program. And then we heard something kind of like taps, and then some speaking, and then a moment of silence. And then people went on their way. What was really moving at this location was a wall at least the length of that, from the door over to the flag here, probably 2 sheets of plywood high, so 4 plus 4. Posters, probably 16 by 20 inch poster of the soldiers that had lost their lives. And I'm not sure if it was from that community or a greater region or area. That was very moving to look at pictures and see someone who, was a young person and died on his birthday, for example. So that was very moving for us and very emotional for the Rotarians from Ismail that were with us. They had tears in their eyes, and they come and participate in that event every morning. So,
I've got it. Can I ask you a question? I've seen a lot of wheelchairs and a lot of building of them. How about an electric or a motorized? Do you guys, or do they do that as well? Because I would think that the need would be really, really big.
Okay, I'm glad you brought that up. Because, yes, they do some motorized wheelchairs. And in Romania, there is a child that is in desperate need of one because she's so handicapped that she just, can't get by with one that's not motorized. And so we were asked to go home and raise money to buy this child a wheelchair, the suggested amount of $500 per club. And so if the Lions would like to help fund this wheelchair, talk to me afterwards. But yeah, there are some of those. In Barlad is where the Eastern European headquarters is with Hope Haven. They built a building there in the last year. It was a multi-year experience, but done in the last year. And it's one of the purposes is the warehouse for wheelchairs, and they have several electric ones in there that need to be refurbished and so on, that Hope Haven staff will work on.
And one other one. You guys do work with Wheelchair Dynamics. Do they get involved somehow that you could work a co-op? It's a huge organization. Yeah. And I didn't know if maybe you don't know. Couldn't you get them involved somehow?
Yeah, I don't know. Carol and I, we're just, you know, we volunteer here in Orange City and help build wheelchairs, but we're on the bottom rung of that leadership ladder. So I can't answer a question like that. You could, you know, ask Jerry Dykstra, you know, he's kind of the boss out there, but he had to leave early. So I don't know if there's a relationship or not.
I want to just talk a little bit about the host family. John and I had a chance to stay in a family's home in Romania, and we were hosted by the daughter in the family. She is a doctor. She was a pulmonologist, and she struggled to say that word in English, so John would say it for her and then she'd say thank you. But she lived with her parents, and her brother was also a doctor and was an eye doctor, and was married and lived in a nearby community. But her parents were delightful people. The mother cooked nonstop, and we kept saying, you know, you don't have to feed us so much, not so much food. So we got down for breakfast the last morning, and it was just huge spread, you know, it was ridiculous. And she said, but there's no meat. Like, that was okay then. You know, she had had everything else, but no meat. So it was a delightful experience. We also went to a Rotary meeting in Romania, and so I got to see this pulmonologist be her president in her president position in her club, and they gave us gifts, handmade gifts from their club, and it was a delightful experience. John and I sat by a lady at that dinner, and her English was very good also. And we learned that she taught English in Romania in a high school environment. And she had never heard someone speak English until the wall came down. And then she had an opportunity. The first place she went to was the UK. And she said, can you imagine, I taught English, but I never heard someone speak it. So she was a delightful person. Her daughter lives in the United States in College Station, Texas, and teaches winemaking. So I've emailed her and told her that over Christmas break I thought of it, I gotta email her, and so I sent her a message to say, we met your mother, and a delightful person, so yeah.
Yeah, in the video it talked about a 6-year relationship, and that's in Ukraine, but I went over there last March on another Rotary Hope Haven trip, and the purpose of that trip was to do ribbon cutting for that new warehouse distribution facility I mentioned earlier, and also a celebration of 20 years that the Rotary Foundation has been working with Rotarians in Barlow and Hope Haven on the wheelchair distributions. And that was a great trip because part of that was a tour around Romania to several different towns that we stayed overnight in. And, you know, very interesting country. We had an interpreter that rode on the bus with us and lined up our meals ahead of time and talked a lot about the history of Romania. And one of the first things he said to us as we were leaving Barlad was, do you notice anything about the language? And I said, yeah, it's like Spanish. Because I could kind of read, you know, the signs on the storefronts and that kind of thing. And so he explained that you know, the Romans had conquered Romania, you know, 20 years ago, but so many of them stayed. And therefore the name Romania and the language is based upon Latin, so that's why it, you know, it kind of sounded like Spanish. And you know how the Knights Templar came in and guarded various things in Romania in the past, and then Germans came in and settled, and such an interesting history that I'd like to do that trip over again, but I don't know.
So, any questions? We've had a couple, but any other questions?
How was the food?
Fabulous. Too much of it. Yeah, lots of food.
It wasn't like Germany. It was somewhat different. Although I enjoyed most everything except the first trip I was there, they had something, did they call it meat, M-E-E-T? And it was a cabbage roll and it filled with rice and some meat in it, M-E-A-T. And boy, I didn't care for it too much, but mostly because I had no idea what it was. I didn't know what I was eating. I was really uncomfortable with that. But when we went back the second time, then I knew what it was, and I didn't have an issue with it whatsoever. But the meals, there was this group of 15, the Rotarians plus physical therapist and Mark Siemens, his daughter, and then 2 to 3 Hope Haven staff, and we'd go to a restaurant. This is all pre-ordered, and they'd come out with 3 platters of meat, platters that big, stacked this high, you know, with a whole chicken and ribs and sausages and an incredible amount of meat, you know, and we just couldn't eat it all. And I don't know what they were thinking, they were trying to impress us or what, but, you know, we never went hungry, that's for sure. So I was disappointed, because in my first trip, we got to order off the menu. And then I could order, you know, what seemed familiar to me. Although when I travel, I don't try to eat American food at all. I like to sample, you know, the native stuff. But I enjoyed that more than this constant huge meat platter thing.
So I'll just close by saying that, you know, we considered it a real opportunity and a real privilege to be able to go and represent Rotary and Hope Haven Ministries in this trip, and it was a trip of a lifetime. I would go again tomorrow if they offered it. It was very rewarding for us on Monday mornings to cut out vinyl hour after hour, and you know, kind of sometimes we listen to music or John listens to podcasts, and time passes on, but then to go see someone sit in a chair and smile because we made life good for them. So, thank you.
Any more questions? Ray?
John, are all these chairs a standard chair and then have to be modified to the patient?
Well, the chairs that we build here in Orange City, they're highly modifiable. You know, lengthen the feet deal and so on. And then they make 12-inch chairs and 14-inch chairs, so a child chair and adult chair. They'll put some kind of padding in them to make them smaller. But in Europe,